Who are you? Are you the stories, dramas, and the familiar noise that usually fills your mind? Or are you something much more? So when our mind is full of this inner noise, the stories and dramas continually running through our mind, we start to identify with it. We don't necessarily realize we're doing it, but because it's always there, it becomes the usual and familiar flavor of how we experience life. It creates a familiar sense of self, how we know ourselves. But just because it's familiar does not mean it's who we truly are. We live in a world that's constantly pushing new stories, new dramas into our awareness through things like the media and social media. And this outer noise adds to our inner noise, and it makes it even harder to really understand and know who we really are. So this is why learning to quiet our mind is really one of the greatest life skills that we can build. Because when we learn to quiet our mind, and it can be learned, as we begin to quiet, there's a sense of freedom that emerges, a freedom from this heavy burden of overthinking that we didn't realize was there before. But as we begin to quiet, we have this freedom. And there's a sense of awakening to something inside, something deeper inside us that was already there. A sense of I. A sense of I that is not dependent on ideas, ideologies, concepts, belief systems, and definitely not dependent on things external to ourselves. It's a simple and powerful sense of I am. Now, mystics, saints, yogis, spiritual aspirants have been asking themselves the question, who am I, for thousands of years, as a method to turn inwards, to find the truth of who they really are. Now, it's not something we can understand and comprehend mentally. It's not an intellectual pursuit. It's an experience. Who am I leads to an experience of something inside, the sense of I, the sense of the heart as the essence of who we are, or what I like to call the sun inside. Now, this is why I love the practice of meditation, because meditation is really a practice of revealing the truth of who we really are inside, beyond the noise of the thoughts, stories, and dramas that constantly fill our mind. And the beautiful thing about meditation is that meditation does not require us to believe anything, only a willingness to turn our awareness inward, a curiosity to understand ourselves. Now, this does not mean that your mind has to be completely silent before you experience a sense of freedom or awakening. It's a process of becoming quiet, a quietening. And at each stage of quietening, there's this corresponding feeling of freedom. Freedom from that burden of overthinking, that layer of thoughts and stories, dramas grasping your mind. And as that happens, it allows a feeling of awakening to something deep inside. The quietening of your mind gives way to the sun inside. You are so much more than the stories and the dramas that can fill your mind. And I know it can be intense sometimes, but it does not have to limit you. So take time to turn inwards. Learn to quiet your mind, and it can be learned. Be curious. Curiosity is an incredible force that it's like a force of enthusiasm to want to know, to understand, that flows from our heart, and it can take us back inwards. Be curious and ask yourself, who am I? Follow this thread inwards, this feeling, who am I? Now, if you would like some support or guidance on your journey, then I have a variety of resources on my website, peacekeeperproject.com. If you feel called, if you feel aligned, if you feel your heart responding, then please take some time to check out the offerings that I have on my website. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out through there. All right, now if you did enjoy this video, if you found it inspiring or helpful, then please give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. This is really the best thing you can do to help me build this channel so that more people can find videos just like this. All right. Thank you for being here, and I really appreciate your presence. Until the next time, quiet your mind and live from your heart.